Lee, your thoughts on a third consecutive win for Bradford with a 42-26 win over Swinton this afternoon?
Obviously pleased with the win. It's not easy to get 3 wins in a row in this division. So in that respect, we're happy clearly with the results. It's another one where a team were targeting us for a win, knowing that they probably needed it to try stay up. And we've come past it, albeit with absolutely loads to work on. We knew what type of game it was going to be. It probably accelerated into a bit more than what we probably anticipated, as in some of the things that were going on. And it rocked us a little bit. I thought we'd come through it going into half time, but then the second half, although we started off well, we went into a big patch there where we really struggled and ended up just doing well to get the win.
In the past, you've used the word comfortable. Did you always feel comfortable this afternoon, or certainly in that second half, Lee, when Swinton scored 12 points in 2 minutes, were you feeling a bit uncomfortable?
No, I don't think you're ever comfortable. I've been here with Dewsbury a couple of times where we've lost it late on, or they've come back against us, and then obviously the home game. They've come back and nearly pipped us at the post when we were more than comfortable in that game. So no, I never felt it. Obviously there were a point where we should have made it comfortable with the first try after half time, but yeah, we kept sort of letting them back in through our own stuff, discipline and errors, and it sort of kept giving them a leg up. It were a stop-start game anyway without us doing those things, and it was always going to be. The players knew what to expect, and we made it even scrappier than what it needed to be, which kept, I suppose, Swinton in there. And when they scored to make it 30-14, you're looking at the scoreboard and you're in it. So yeah, in the end, from that point, we've just done well to win the game. And Swinton, they're so hard to beat. They're just how they are, how they play, the pressure they put on you and the officials, and yeah, we've got through it.
How important was the point scored before half time? Obviously you had the numerical advantage with Jake Spedding in the sin bin.
Well, you can point to any of the points and say they were crucial. I always felt, and we've got a lot of talented players in our team, so if you looked, it almost looked like when we needed to score, we just scored. There were a point where we wanted to take the 2 to go 12 points up. They ran it and scored a couple of plays later, and it almost looked a little bit like that. Just said to the players in there, you can't really turn it on and off going forward now. There's no room for this type of performance really. But I've said to you a long time now, every game's completely different. Last week were different. Newcastle had to come to us desperate on our pitch, made it difficult for us. Swinton here was a different challenge, and they've made it every bit as difficult as what we thought. Next week's obviously completely different again, so it won't be the same things that didn't work well or worked for us today that'll work well next week. So yeah, it's just a different challenge every week, and that's what's good about the division.
How much of a concern, worry is it to you, Lee and Brian? You're still not seeing, I know you're never going to get a perfect performance, but this afternoon another sort of inconsistent performance, hot and cold it feels like. How much of a concern, worry is that 4 games to go to the playoffs?
It is and it isn't. I mean, you look at everybody else and nobody's doing it. If there were 3 or 4 teams at the top all, absolutely performing to the maximum and looking unbeatable, then you'd be struggling a little bit. But nobody is. Even the teams at the top that are winning, they're not looking convincing with the performances. Toulouse, Featherstone haven't been convincing every single week, so nobody is. It's one hell of a tough division. I don't think people appreciate how hard this is. Just because it's Bradford in name doesn't mean we should come here and absolutely batter Swinton, who are fighting for their lives near the bottom. It's not like that. Swinton have picked over some big teams over here this season, and they make it very difficult for you, and they did today. Maybe it were us points making it look like it was comfortable on the scoreboard that made it look more uncomfortable at the end. But listen, I'm sure we'd have taken that manner of not manner, but the points difference at the end. Obviously when you're watching the game develop, you are getting annoyed with some things and you're getting frustrated with some of the things you are doing, but overall we've done what we needed to do. There's still players to come back in this team. and we aim to obviously get stronger.
You mentioned when we spoke during the week about the size of the field here, no secret, one of the biggest in the league. I think Swindon's 5 tries actually come on the edges, Lee. Are you happy with your ability to defend on the edges?
Yeah, I mean it's just a normal size field really. It's just full size compared to us. So the challenge is where every other week we're on a very small one. That's the difference. So it does challenge you, and mentally the first sort of reaction sometimes is to spread the field and make it really wide. I don't think we did that. The first 2 tries of theirs were very disappointing because there was nothing actually there. They didn't create a number, they didn't create a man over. It was just a couple of individuals just missing their little job. Then you start thinking, well, what are we doing wrong? Is something wrong systematically? And there wasn't. So a couple of individual things first half. Second half we were disappointing. I'd say we conceded an offload around the halfway line and just clocked off. They made a break from that. We did well to recover, but then they scored at the end of that with a nice little kick. So the actual try itself was difficult to defend, but the break before it wasn't. But the other tries were really disappointing. I mean, they just dived over from that to half back on one of them in the corner. So that's you're not going to win a grand final or even get through the playoffs if you're defending like that. So there's some things we do 100% need to work on, but in a way we sort of need to use some of these things that are happening against us as positives and things to work on, to learn on. It's not tended to be something that we've been caught on too often, little dive overs in a corner, so that's a good thing now for our people on the outside to work on and look at and think about.
Jayden Myers seems to be going from strength to strength. I know he come up with a couple of defensive errors, Lee, but certainly the short restarts he dealt with, and good to see him go over for a try.
Yeah, well that's it. I mean, we spoke about young lads and how they learn, and they almost need to play to learn from the mistakes. And if you remember, a couple of games ago, there were some short kickoffs that he struggled to deal with. He's got his position a bit better there, and obviously taken the balls and done well from that. But ball in hand is a massive threat. He's made some breaks out of yardage just on his own, really, just running round people and through people. He's an handful. We've got a quality player in his hands there, and that's why he's been re-signed. That's why he's starting at the moment, and he'll give Eamon, I won't even say a headache now. It's his spot to lose at the moment. Is that centre position? But yeah, you're right. There's a couple of things to work on, but there's going to be, as a young lad playing his first sort of season at this level, so there's going to be stuff, and we keep working with him. I was a little bit disappointed about some of the players around him. I don't think they helped him today. Lack of energy, maybe a lack of fitness almost with the people around him, not talking to him, more experienced players. And then we wouldn't have probably seen those minor errors from him.
On the 2 points, Lee, you said you and Brian wanted it, and I was looking over in the stand and saw you wanting the 2 points. Obviously the players have decided to run it. What do you say to them in the dressing room? You know, you've ended up with 6 instead of 2, or do you let them off in those situations?
It happened a couple of times. I thought they were going to take 2 at one of the first half, so I was telling them to run it. They get a feel for it. If it doesn't work out and we end up losing that game, then I'm obviously absolutely hammering them, because that would have taken the score to 12. You're always looking a little bit on, not the negative, but what could happen eventually, whereas sometimes when you're playing you're thinking we can score and we're in a good position, and the players were right. I'd have been equally happy if we'd have just actually completed that set as well and taken some energy out. I'd have been happy if we'd have took the score out to 12. So it's the what next that we look at. Once they've tapped it, I'm not spewing and going mad for the next 10 minutes. I'm looking at what we're doing next with it, and look at that we scored.
Tough physical game, everyone come through unscathed.
We'll have to see. Yeah, there were some stuff going on, wasn't there, in quite a few areas and quite a few patches of the game. So there'll be certainly at least bumps and bruises with some of the things that were going on. Don't look like we've actually lost anyone who had to come off, but then again we get to training sometimes Tuesday, and there's some people are more severe than others. So yeah, we think we're all right, but we'll see on Tuesday.
No Ben Blackmore, Lee. Obviously Connor Wynn coming in for him. What's the latest with Ben Blackmore? Why did he not?
Yeah, he pulled up injured in training on Friday. We tried leaving it till late last night, but there were no improvement in him, so we'll just have to see how he is. We were looking at possibly bringing Brad England in there, having a little reshuffle, but then he was in a car accident actually on Friday on the way home from training. So he's a bit shook up from that, a bit of whiplash. That also ruled him out. So it gave Connor an opportunity, and I thought he did well. I thought there was some elements where he needs to work on, but he's been out of the team for a bit and not played loads all season. So that will probably always going to happen, and he's come in late to the team, not really trained there. That side hadn't trained together, and I think that showed a little bit in the second half.
Are you expecting Brad and Ben to be potentially available next week?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, Ben's had a bit of a back issue for a while now. Sometimes it takes a week or so to settle, and he misses a bit of training and the game like today. Other times it comes to Tuesday and it's all right. It's one of them. So we're looking into it about what we can do. What we don't want to do is obviously play him when it's not quite right, losing for the rest of the season. So we'll see how he responds just with the resting it this weekend. And then with Brad, we're not sure. We're quite a hefty hit that he took while he were in his car on Friday. I think he's wrote his car off. So there'll be a bit of whiplash there, and you're not quite sure what goes on inside your body when you've been hit with that. So yeah, we'll see with Brad as well, but fingers crossed they're both available. Chester Butler not far off either, so we're looking healthy-ish.
Just one final one from me, Lee. Obviously, with the results, what's happened this weekend, and Batley losing to Sheffield, Bradford now up to third, and crucially 3 points, breathing space between third, fourth, and obviously fifth place Batley. He's still remaining grounded. Is it still a game at a time, or do you look at it now and think there is that little bit of breathing space there?
No, not at all. There's none. It's so tight still. Obviously we were third on Sunday. Friday night we were back to fourth. It's all very tight, and it's going to go right to that last game by the looks of it. Not just on positioning, but actually making the six. So we're still of the same mindset. We want to try be in the six and get that sewn up as early as we can. That might end up going to the second to last week if we look after ourselves. It might go to the last game, and then we'll worry about where we finish in that and who we play in the playoffs if we get there.
Cheers.
Thank you.
On the pitch, Lee, how pleased were you that you were able to utilise the size of it? Because at points when you did start moving the ball quickly through the hands, you could see that you were able to utilise it and you got it out wide.
Yeah, well, we've got good attacking players anyway, so playing away from home on a bigger pitch doesn't scare us. It's just different. So it's the defensive side of it that we try to make sure we're good at. But ball in hand, we are a threat, and we do score nice tries, and we've scored a lot of nice tries. And it gives us a bit more space to play. So playing away from home doesn't faze us whatsoever, because we've got some good attacking players.
Are these kind of victories all more pleasing, knowing that perhaps they could have got back into it at one point, and as Mick referred to, you perhaps weren't at your best throughout the 80 minutes? Yeah,
obviously it's a bit of an old adage in it that good teams can win when they're not playing well. So we haven't performed well, but Swinton can do that to you. They can make it scrappy, and they make you fight for everything. They put you off your game if you're getting on it, sort of thing, and I think that's what happened today. And we need to be a little bit better in some areas, but in some areas Swinton are hard to play against. So yeah, we'll take the victory with plenty to work on.
Would you say this squad is what you're going to go with if you do make it into the playoffs, or is there still room for change?
As in the 17?
17 and starting 13.
I'm sure there will be change. No, we've got what we've got in the building at the moment, squad-wise. Well, obviously we can't bring anyone in from that. The deadline's passed. I'm sure the team that played today won't be the team that just plays every single week. There'll be little changes here and there as needed. People will get injured. There's opportunities for people in the squad that are not playing at the moment, and they all know that. You could end up being not in the team at the minute, but then playing the last 3 games and in the playoffs. So they all know that. They're all training hard and they're all ready to come in.
Thanks, Luke.
Cheers.